Assalamu alaikum everybody. Welcome to my first YouTube channel where my name is Nini and I'm going to share past stories that have happened to me from like years ago. But yeah, I just want to share some stories on here, some crazy stories that you can relate to. I'm going to call this channel Story Time, because I'm going to share like a bunch of stories that happened like years ago, but I'm sure they're going to be helpful to somebody. I wish I knew a story time when I was going through like my serious hardships and like in my journey, like it was like awful from a long time ago. So yeah, I just wanted to share some story times out here with you guys. My first story time, I have two sons. My first story time is going to be about when my son was kidnapped. Yes, he was 2 years old. He's 9 now, but he was 2 years old, and crazy but amazing. I hope you guys enjoy. Okay, once upon a time, when I lived in Texas, one of my nephews had a baby, and I was at his house to visit him and his new baby. Visit him, his wife, and his new baby. My older son, he had school in the morning, no problem. I took my older son to school in the morning, and I left my 2-year-old sleeping at my nephew's house. Of course, they're watching him, and yeah. So they're supposed to be watching him. Okay, I'm going to speed this up so you guys don't click away from the video. But so they're watching him. I take my older son to school. I come back in the house. It's almost 8 o'clock by the time I get back to my nephew's house. So I scramble an egg. I was going to make like an egg and then some oatmeal, wake my son up, because around 8 he usually would be waking up anyway. So I scramble an egg. I go and I look in the room. My son wasn't in the room, so I'm like, okay, maybe he's in the nursery looking at the new baby, because sometimes he would do that, like just so amazed, and he would like stare at the new baby and everything. So I go and I turn the news on. I watch the news for a second, and I go and I check the nursery. He wasn't in there, so I start looking around the house for him, because I'm like, where is he? I couldn't find him anywhere. So I knocked on my nephew's door, and I asked him, like, is Jude in a room with you? And he's like, no. And I actually felt bad, because he and his wife were awake like throughout the night with the newborn, but I couldn't find my baby. So I'm like, I had to knock on the door and ask him where he was. So they're like, no, he's not in here. So I went outside. I looked in the garage. They had a really big house. So I looked through the house again. I looked in the garage. He wasn't in the garage. I walked in the backyard. He wasn't in the backyard. I walked around the house. He wasn't around the house. I didn't know how to check the security cameras at that time. I don't even think I thought about the security cameras, but I did walk around the house looking for him. So now on the inside, I was trying not to panic. I hurry up, I knock on his door again, and they're like, no, he's not in here. So now they're helping me look for him, and as we're like looking all through the house, and I'm not gonna lie, I was like, if he's in this house, like at least let him at least be knocked out, because like, where's my baby? Like, where's my baby? Is just crazy. So I called the police, because I was like, it's taking too long to find him. And I call the police, I make a report. Now we start driving like up and down the street just to find him. So the next day comes. Mind you, of course I didn't sleep, I didn't eat, none of those things. Like, if anybody's ever had an abduction happen, you don't eat and sleep and all that. My mouth was super dry. I was running on this high adrenaline. I literally started talking to myself. I was talking out loud, like, I'm gonna find my baby. So I'm just like, you know what? I'm like, God, you need to return my baby right now. I'm not accepting this. I'm already accepting extreme hardships at this time already, with not having any food to eat, with my electricity being cut off, like not knowing where my husband was at the time and why he wasn't answering calls or text messages and all that. So I was like, I'm not accepting this. I was like, I'm already going through just this madness. I can't have my baby kidnapped too. So what happened at the time? Just the craziest thing. So the next day comes, the police called me back and they were like, we have your baby, he's fine. So I'm like, okay, so where can I meet with you guys to come pick him up? They were like, no, we're gonna keep him till tomorrow morning, we'll bring him to you. And I'm like, why? Like, why? You have my baby, but I don't know the proper protocol, the procedures. I don't, this is all new to me. So they, of course, I still didn't sleep. They bring him back to me early the next morning. They told me what happened. They said that there was a lady from China who was in the States. She was only going to be working for like 6 months or 8 months. I don't know how the visa was. I don't remember. So they said it doesn't make sense to, because I was saying like I need to press charges, like you can't just take somebody's baby. What happened was she was driving to work. She saw my son on the neighbor's front lawn. He walked out of the house to look for me. After I left, you know, he woke up and he walked out the house to look for me. The reason why my nephew and niece didn't hear the alarm go off, because he knew the code. Like, imagine that, like babies and little kids are so smart, like they're just super smart. So he knew the code, never knew he even paid attention to the code ever. He knew the code to take the alarm off, and he went outside, and this is why the alarm didn't set the house off, so they never woke up. So he goes outside and he walks to the neighbor's house, which the neighbors, we've been to their house before, like a few times for like parties or something, just for social time. So he knew the neighbor's house, so he walked to the neighbor's house. So the lady who was here just for a short time, she's driving to work, she worked at a hospital, and she sees my baby, my son, out on the lawn. So she picks him up, puts him in her car. She goes and buys him like some warm clothes because he was out there in his pajamas. And so she goes and buys him like jacket and pull-ups and pants and all that. So she puts all this on him. For one, probably if she asks him, where do you live or what house did you come from? You know, some 2-year-olds that are very articulate. This was my son, my 2-year-old. My second son was extremely articulate. You could ask him like, whose house is that? Oh, I'm at my auntie's house, my cousin's house. Like, he would tell you. But she didn't ask him that, probably assuming that she was assuming that he was lost, I guess. So she took him to her, bought him some new clothes, took him back to her house, fed him some chicken noodle soup, took him to her job at the hospital, and her coworkers were like, you need to call the police and like give him to the police. Like, you can't just go and get somebody's baby and like bring them to work with you. Like, you didn't find a pet rock. Like, this is somebody's baby. So what happened after that? Okay, so the police, like, they call me, they tell me they're gonna bring him back to me in the morning on the 3rd day, which by the way feels like a lifetime. When your baby's kidnapped, feels like 2 lifetimes. So once they brought my baby to me, like, I was so happy and so mixed with just these overwhelming emotions that, like, I remember like feeling like I was like moving so slowly, but in my head I was like moving so fast to get to him. So I take my baby in my arms. I'm like, oh my gosh, shukrullah, shukrullah. Like, I'm so happy you sent me my baby back. So I make an appointment for him. I take him in to get a checkup. But before that, I told the police, like, I need to continue on with this report. I need you guys to do some more paperwork, because that lady needs to know you can't just go and get somebody's baby. At the time, this is how I was thinking. Now I know the lesson in it now. Oh my goodness. So I'll get into some more things, the more story times I put up, and you guys will see how all of these stories are connected. After that, I take him for a checkup. He's perfectly fine. He's well. And then I took him to the library, and we read some books on abductions for children, and we watched a couple of videos and talking about strangers and things like this. And so yeah, that was at that time in my life, that was just complete madness. But yeah, my baby was stolen. Like, that was just so crazy. I have a lot more crazier stories, and the more comfortable I get talking to my cell phone, I'll share some more stories. I'm not sure when my next upload will be. Some of the uploads will be from my car, because I'm going to be working, and I'll share some story times like while I'm driving. So yeah, that's it. You guys subscribe, share this, I don't know, with somebody. somebody that I know is eventually going to see this video and they're going to be like, oh my god, Nini still drinks tea. Yes, I do. Any kind of tea all year round, that's me. So eventually I'm going to do a Q&A so you guys can really get to know me. But you guys get down in the comment section, even if you don't describe, tell me if you can relate. All right, thank you.